Welcome again to Family Dynamics with Bola. On today's episode, we are going to be discussing on how to handle the emotional toll of parenting conflicts. It's very easy for us to say, even when your spouse is not budging, when they have like a different parenting style from you, some of the things you could do. But in real life, this could take an emotional toll on you and on your relationship. So today I just want to discuss some practical things that we could do to handle the emotional toll of parenting conflict, because we know parenting is supposed to be about love, it's supposed to be about growth, it's supposed to be about guiding our children. But sometimes our relationship with our spouse make this parenting that is really crucial become a source of stress or even frustration as we journey in raising our children. So today, I just want to speak to a person who is in this state, right? What are some of the things you could do to manage the emotional toll of parenting conflicts? I'll just give some practical things that we can do. The first thing I want you to do is reframe your perspective about the conflict. Yeah, is it easy? No. But is it possible? Yes. Reframe your perspective. It is the two of you versus the problem that you're encountering. When you have parenting style conflicts, it's not you versus your spouse, right? So instead of you seeing your spouse as the problem, as the villain, as the opponent, you want to remind yourself that the two of you, you want the best for your child. You just have a different way of getting there. So, one thing you could do is this: the next time that you feel like there's tension arising between you and your spouse in what to do about your children, just take a deep breath. Ask yourself, is there a way that we can work together here instead of us working against each other? And you will be surprised that there's always a way. Right. Another thing you could do is acknowledge your feelings without letting them control you. Of course, it's okay to feel frustrated. Sometimes you even feel unheard. And even sometimes you feel resentful. Like, how come you can't see my own point of view? How come you can't see that this is the best way to raise this kid? But you don't want to let these feelings dictate your actions, right? When you feel those emotions, one thing you want to do is to, like, okay, this is how I feel right now. This is how I feel. I feel like you're not being open to what I'm saying. I feel like you're not listening to me. This would actually help you yourself regulate your emotions. It will help you not to just lash out. It will help you to make what is already bad, it will help you not to make it worse. And it would help you communicate more clearly. You will be surprised at some of the effects that this would have on your relationship. You could also even have like a kind of rule that you have. Agree as a couple to take a pause when your emotions take over, when you're feeling like really frustrated, because those times will come when you have a different style of raising those children. You can have that rule, like, you know what, let's revisit this. Let's come back to this in an hour when we've both had enough time to just think about it, right? So that would help you and it will help your spouse in that regard. And another practical thing that I want to put in your hand is, as a parent, write down your parenting triggers. You've seen over time some of the things that, repeat itself that actually cause conflict between you and your spouse in raising your kid. And sometimes it's not even the parenting style that causes the conflict. It's more deep rooted issues, right? So it's really important for you and your spouse to journal those things so that you can get to the root cause and find out how to move on from that. You can ask yourself, what are some of the specific issue here that make me so upset? Is it what he said? Is it what she said, or how they've said it? Is this really about my spouse? Or this is from something that stems from the way I was raised, something that stems from my past, something that stems from my experiences in time past. As you journal those things, those triggers, you're able to get to the root of the matter. You're able to see, okay, this is much more than what I'm seeing on the surface. And then you ask yourself, what exactly can I do to manage these emotions before I actually respond to them? And one other practical thing you could do is, when you don't agree on big things, look for small areas of agreement. There's always a small win. Look for those places where he agrees that this could be done, she agrees that we could do it this way. Identify just one thing that you both agree on parenting and make a big deal out of it. You know, you both can agree that education is really important to you as a family, and you can work together towards that. That's a win. So agree on that. Don't focus so much on what you're not agreeing on, because as events unfold, you find places of compromise and how to just bring those things together, and your focus is shifting from what is not working to what is working. And the last thing I want to talk about is the practical things you could do when these things take an emotional toll on you, is actually to tell you that don't let parenting conflict ruin your relationship. Parenting is part of your marriage. It's not all of it, right? It's part of it, but it's not the entirety of your marriage. I know it's a huge part of it, it is big, but if you strengthen those other parts of your relationship, the conflict in parenting would be easier to walk through. So I'd like to challenge you. If you're going through this, you can have like maybe a week challenge and say, the first couple of days, I'm going to do a little bit of self reflection, know my triggers. This will really help you to have clarity on your emotional reactions before you try to change your spouse, right? So you are in a good place. And then you begin to reframe your conflict. And then before you know it, you find one thing that you want to appreciate in your spouse's parenting. Because tell you the truth, at least there will be one thing that they are doing right. So I'd love for you to share with me as you go through, and just tell me, if you go through this challenge maybe for a week, which one, what day of a challenge is the hardest for you? What are you finding a little bit harder to do? And what are some of the things that change your perspective? And, as you go over this and see, you would realize that actually the conflict is not as huge as you think, and you letting it have emotional toll on you, it's doing you a kind of disservice. I know, I totally understand that when you're parenting with different style, it could be very exhausted, especially emotionally. But you have to understand that your peace of mind is paramount. We know that you can't control your spouse, but you can control your own mindset. You can control your reactions, and you can control the way you want to model peace and love and patience to your kids. So keep showing up even when there's disagreement. Keep showing up with love, and you would watch how this would transform you, transform your family as you go ahead with this. Thank you so much for listening. This is Family Dynamics with Bola.